Hello, everyone. I think the chair sees a quorum here, so we're going to start. Just want to welcome you to this annual meeting celebration of the Lake Forest Preservation Foundation, our 40th anniversary year, 2016. It was this organization was founded in 1976 from the Historic Sites Committee of the Historical Society, Lake Forest Lake Bluff Historical Society, to advocate for preservation in the community. This is the same 1976 founding as the Ragdale Foundation at the 1897 Howard Van Doren Shaw Estate, now one of Chicago's greatest preservation success stories. And it's the same year, of course, as the U.S. Bicentennial, a celebration and renewal of America and its rich heritage. So I'm going to next invite you to for a secretary's report from Maureen Grinnell, the organization's secretary. Maureen.
Yes. You all should have a copy of the minutes from last year, and my goal is to see if indeed those minutes are approved. If you did not receive them here, perhaps you received them the other right behind your agenda.
Is there a motion, Roger, to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second? From Gail. Very good.
All right.
We're moving. Okay, and we have a quorum. We saw that already. Officers' reports. I'm the president, and I'm going to start with a report, and I'm going to rattle through it kind of quickly, I hope. We have many great preservation highlights for this 40th anniversary year. Some showing up in awards that we're going to see in a few minutes, and some for future ones. First, Market Square's centennial for 1916 to 2016. And its preservation. Actually, the last Western Avenue group of tenants moved in 1917, around this time of year, to be precise. So, but we can celebrate this again next year if we want to. The Deer Path Inn's preservation, interior renovation, and reopening that we're here to celebrate here, and you're going to hear more about that later. The rehabilitation of Forest Park, a wonderful 9-acre lakefront overlook park that at last has achieved its true status as a middle landscape, neither a vest pocket Yosemite or a Gramercy Square in an urban setting. It is a gracefully, unobtrusively outfitted public showplace. Fourth, Gorton Center's latest renovation and the renewal of the John and Nancy Hughes Theater and the marking of the retirement after 5 years of director Brenda Dick, who propelled Gorton's rising from the 2008 financial ashes in its latest interior renovation under architect Stephen Wright, with entry doors on the way, so it's not going to have an award this year. Also, with retirement after 28 years of librarian Kay Grabby, many of us were there yesterday for her retirement reception at the library, to celebrate her stewardship of that fine institution, in its stellar 1930 completed building and interior, one of the North Shore's very best. Next, we applaud the restoration of the 1857 Lake Forest Plan, designed by Elmer and Hotchkiss. The original July 1857 registration copy by the city and partially funded by the foundation. They carried out the restoration with our funding partly. Now it hangs in the City Hall conference room. This grew out of a project by David Mattoon to make accessible the original plan, and his digital project working with a 1943 redrafting of the 1857 plan is now available. There are forms available, they're on hand, and I think there was some out in the main lobby where you entered that show what you can acquire, but they have the lots, they're showing the ravines like the original, etc. There's progress again on the East Side train station, built in 1900. They are back at work, on the exterior, now the tuck pointing and painting preparation that we can watch. Oversight is by preservation architect Gunny Harbo, who did our 2009 historic structure report for that. This segues me into another section. The next section, this is mention of things that are still on our plate, preservation concerns, very briefly. We're hoping to continue to work with the city staff and architects on the interior of the train station and have discovered much new information about that. The latest linking it to Louis Sullivan and Frank Lloyd Wright's Prairie School interior work of the 1890s and to other Frost and Granger stations along the line. We are still seeking to find another thing then is that we're still seeking to find a buyer to restore the around 1950 Keck and Keck designed mid-century modern house at 1711 Devonshire, formerly the Fagan and also Franklin and Irene McMahon House. Third, Lake Forest is mentioned in today's, just a second. If anybody saw the travel section from the New York Times, Lake Forest is mentioned in an atlas of F. Scott Fitzgerald sites. And, but this is coinciding with, because that's where Ginevra King was that was their summer home. They had a house in the city also, and Fitzgerald visited her there. The house is a little bit in ambiguous state. There's a planning thing being approved by the Plan Commission. The house is to be saved, but there's a time thing that will start at some point before too long, maybe where a clock will be ticking on a 2-year deadline. We're not too sure of all the details of that, but I think we want to find a buyer for this place, and you too could be in the travel section of the New York Times. So I don't think there's been a Howard Van Doren Shaw house in Lake Forest torn down since Havenwood in 1979, the night before the first preservation ordinance that I remember. So it would be too bad to have this lost. We are monitoring also the former site of the proposed Whole Foods proposal on Route 60 with its historic estate house and the need, no less, to protect the parkway character of this main west entry to the town with its 150-foot setback as everywhere else along there between the tollway and Route 41. And finally, I have a cluster of important announcements. We've learned of the passing on April 29th of Thomas Quinn, a friend of preservation, this foundation, Ragdale, and stewardship at the 1934 Adler-designed Leslie Wheeler estate. His spouse, Diane, and the family have our sympathy. Also, we note with sadness the passing on March 16th of longtime bulwark of this organization, former president and longtime honorary director Sarah or Sally Wimmer. Her memorial was held at the First Baptist Church last month, and the board approved at its last meeting a $1,000 grant to that church for improvements and physical maintenance of the building that they have. The City of Lake Forest's new LF Go app is launched, and literally within the last 15 minutes, I was able to pull it up. This is an app for your iPhone that will, of course I won't be able to make it really work, but because of my current location, go.
On your screen, you should see colorful icons
Oh well.
superimposed
Anyway,
on
it
the
sounds
map
like
of Lake
this in
Forest.
general.
Each icon
But it's
marks
going to,
the
when you come to a
location
place
of
like the Lake
story
Forest,
or effect.
stop.
Whenever you pass these locations, I'll share what's
Stop.
interesting
End.
about that location.
Good. It's up, and it's ready to be used, and it's got several sites around town that you could play this at. It is, I guess the Android thing is not yet quite working, but if you have an iPhone, you can just download this by typing in Lake Forest into the App Store. So as we speak, this is happening today. This is the first day. Let's see. The Benjamin Marshall Society will host a launch party, for its new book for $45 on the architect's work on Sunday, May 15th at the Drake Hotel. See their site for details. We congratulate them on this accomplishment. They've tried to do it for many years. Marshall having designed the 1904 Peary Place at 930 East Rosemary and in Lake Bluff, Lansdowne off of Moffett. I'll return to announce the awards, and I want to thank the committee chair, Guy Berg, who is recovering from illness. Is Guy here today? I don't think so. No? Yes, yes. Good. He's here, and he was with us in all the planning process. Peter Coutant, who mounted the PowerPoint for today and is going to be distributing awards up here, and to other members of the panel of judges, including Pauline and Roger Moore, Kurt Peretz, Sharon Harvey, and Marcy Kerr. Lastly, thanks to all who helped make this meeting possible in this beautifully rehabilitated Deer Path Inn. We, of course, can best express our thanks to the inn itself through our patronage for events, to put up guests, and to dine and socialize in the dining room, the new porch, the garden, if spring ever comes, and the pub. With special thanks to Vice President Allison Durr and Executive Director Marcy Kerr and all our dedicated volunteers today. We hope everyone has a great time. My last word, though Lake Forest was awarded top honors as Illinois' most boring town in 2015 on one site, we think either we can respectfully decline the honor or alternatively revel in it if it means a place that respects harmony, beauty, quiet, night sky, and a rich heritage. Thank you very much. Now our treasurer's report is next. That's Fred Moyer. Where's right there?
Well, our financial statement is not boring. If you turn to the, I think it's the third or fourth page of your handout materials, and I'll be very brief. We were able to report last year that the foundation was in solid financial condition, and we are about 10 times as solid this year. The reason has to do with very successful programs, quality programs that have brought increased attendance and participation, increased membership, increased contributions, increased general contributions. You'll see the tabulation of income on the second group of items. And as you'll see listed here, the overall income for last year was $183,775, which is a 27% increase over the previous year in terms of income. And then accompanying that is virtually no increase in expenses. Down below, it's a few $100s on $30,000. So the net difference is very solid. And once again, I want to recognize Marcy Kerr, our executive director, who tracks all these expenses, pays the bills, keeps track of what they are and where the money's going, and she has a lot to do with the success also. Thank you.
Next, we have our development report, Stephen Bent. Steve, welcome back.
Well, I'm pleased to tell you that my report is short but sweet. I'd like to thank everybody in this room and also those who could not attend who've contributed to the Lake Forest Preservation Foundation. We wouldn't be able to conduct the affairs of the foundation without your financial support. There are currently about 400 members of Lake Forest Preservation Foundation, about the same as last year, and I'm pleased to report revenue in the following categories for fiscal 2015-16. Membership dues and donations were up from $39,000 to $53,000, an increase of about 37%. Annual fund contributions were up from $28,000 to $33,000, an increase of about 19%. General contributions were up from $5,000 to $15,000, an increase of about 200%. But I should point out that one large contribution, which was made for a specific purpose, was largely responsible for that increase. Income from programs was up from $21,000 to $26,000, an increase of 22%. One of the significant projects we're committed to support in this coming year, as Art has already said, is the renovation of the train station. In addition to that, we plan to support with the Heritage Fund projects which have been nominated by members of the community. It's always a challenge to increase the number of members that we have, but it's important for us to do that, since the more members we have, the more influence we will have in supporting preservation in the community. So if you have some friends or acquaintances who might be interested in joining the foundation, please refer them to us and see if we can get them to join our membership. Again, thank you very much for your support.
He took my schedule. Does anybody have a schedule? Okay, thank you very much. The next next report is our program committee, and Allison Durr is here. Unfortunately, her voice is not. And who's giving the report? Oh, yes. Jim is right here. Okay.
Well, Allison and her committee were very busy last year, so this is a rather lengthy report. I'm reading on behalf of Allison, if you will. She's pleased to report the programs and that we had in 2015, and also highlight some of the ones coming up for 2016. The 2015 annual meeting reception was held in the beautiful spring afternoon of Fairlawn, the home of Lorna and Miles Marsh, excuse me. We're very appreciative of their kindness in sharing their beautiful and historic home. The June garden stroll at the home of Winnie and Bob Crawford included guided tours of the renovated Forest Park led by Cliff Miller and Peter Cherry. Although the evening was brisk and breezy, those attending had a new understanding of the scope and the work done in the park and appreciated the delightful garden setting at the Crawfords. The August garden stroll was at the home of Heidi and Jim McNerney, where Dorothy Abear, owner of the Gardens in Progress, spoke about her work in developing the garden and ravine into a magnificent expanse that we enjoyed that evening. The McNerneys have transformed the ravine location into a peaceful retreat with various spaces for activities, gathering, or contemplation. Thanks to both the McNerneys and Dorothy for their support. The annual benefit architectural house and garden tour was a smashing success. The homes were magnificent and the weather was perfect. We thank the many, many volunteers who made an event like this possible, but especially the homeowners who opened and shared their unique and historic private residences. Amy and David Hartwell, Mary Southworth, Kathy and Ken Marsh, Lynn and Jim Bertram, Aaron and David Brush, and Gina and John Park. In October, Lake Forest Preservation Foundation collaborated with Lake Forest College to celebrate the work of the local architect I.W. Colburn. Friday evening included a special presentation at Lake Forest College by Jay Pridemore, whose book entitled I.W. Colburn, Emotion in Architecture had recently been published. Sunday afternoon, those attending were treated to a viewing of local sites, which included Colburn's either built, adapted, or renovated properties. Homeowners Julie Prieb, Mary Niebler, Lisa and Chris Garrity, and Lori and Tom Flint, as well as the Church of the Holy Spirit, were so gracious in allowing us to see Colburn's work and learn the history of these significant places in our community. In December, members and their guests celebrated the holiday season in the summer house at Crabtree Farm. We are grateful to Neville and John Brian for hosting, and Tom Gleason for facilitating this afternoon. March's educational program on Market Square, the first 100 years of presentation and adaptation, presented by Mike Fitzgerald, principals at the OKW Architects, the firm spearheading the renovation work, and Art Miller, president of the Lake Forest Preservation Foundation. We thank them for their time and for sharing their expertise. Today's annual meeting is very special in that we are gathering at Lake Forest's beloved Deer Path Inn, which has undergone extensive renovation. We're deeply grateful to the Inn for hosting this meeting and the reception afterwards, and thank them for their generosity and outreach to the foundation. Second page. The upcoming programs include, on Friday, June 11th, an offering tour of 5 significant buildings at Crabtree Farm. The tours will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Light refreshments will be served between the tours. Tours are identical, so choose the better time for you and register soon at the website. Space is limited. On Friday, August 26th, a garden stroll at a yet-to-be-disclosed, beautiful Lake Bluff lakeside location. It's maybe a hide-and-seek tour, I don't know. Okay, on Sunday, October 2nd, the annual Benefit Architectural House Tour, we have titled In the Woods, end quote, promises to be another wonderful and informative fundraising tour of beautiful and significant homes in Lake Forest. Now, speaking for Allison here, she would like to thank the program committee for its dedication and hard work, and all the board members and others in the membership for their selfless volunteering at events, and everyone who supports the mission of the Lake Forest Preservation Foundation with both financial donations, but more importantly, with attendance at events that the committee has worked so hard to provide for the membership and the community. And Allison would like to specifically and specially thank Marcy Kerr and Art Miller for their willingness to hold her hand and teach her the ropes, and who made her job easy and fun. End of the minutes.
The next report is from our nominating committee, and Kristen Chun is coming forward right now as I speak.
Hi, I'm Kristen Chun. I'm the chair of the nominating committee. First, I'd like to thank the members of my committee, Marcy Kerr, Laura Luce, Judy Bogus, Art Miller, Lynn Bertram, and Liz Moore. Thank you for all the hard work you did to find all of our great new members. I would like to, at this point, propose the following slate for your consideration for our officers. Please stand when your name is called. President, Art Miller. Vice President of Development, Ingrid Brzezinski. Is Ingrid here? Okay. Vice President Programs, Tom Gleason and Laura Luce. There's Tom, there's Laura. And Secretary Maureen Grinnell. And Treasurer Peggy Pandaleon. I'd like to call for a motion. Thank you. And second? All in favor? Great. All right. Congratulations. The next, I'd also like to propose the following slate for your consideration of the directors for the 2019 class. At this point, I would like to invite Art, Maureen, Laura, and Judy to come up here to introduce our 4 new members. Laura, go first. Well, you're the first one.
I'm the first one in.
Okay. Should I turn this?
I don't even know. Need glasses. I'm here to introduce Sarah Tenbrook. Sarah lives in Lake Forest with her husband and twin daughters. They have undertaken 4 sympathetic restorations in all, 2 in the city, 1 in Grosse Pointe, and her most comprehensive here in Lake Forest, a prominent Boyd Hill house for which they won the Foundation Award a couple of years ago. Sarah has a sixth sense about historical accuracy and old world craftsmanship, hard to say, but also the knowledge to back it up. She will be a very welcome addition to our board of directors.
Hello. I'm here to introduce Maggie Coleman as a new board member, and we are delighted. Maggie was trained as a librarian. She has been a past president of the Lake Forest Garden Club, and she is currently doing a monumental job on putting the history of the Lake Forest Garden Club to print. And it's been a wonderful job, and I think Maggie is going to bring a great deal. She and her husband have lived in Lake Forest since their early marriage, and I think this is going to be a wonderful addition. Thank you, Maggie, for joining us.
I'd like to introduce Kurt Peretz. Kurt is a trained architect. He is a member of the AIA. He's been for 7 years on the city's Historic Preservation Commission. His last term, the 3 years as the chair. He retired in 2015. He is in the real estate business in the city with a major firm there, and has been with that firm since 2011. And before that has 25 years of experience actually in that field. So it's a great addition to us to have a trained architect, someone who knows real estate well, and someone with a long record and honored record of service in the city. Kurt Peretz, thank you.
I'd like to introduce Sharon Polton, Sharon Harvey. She's already been mentioned as being on the committee that selected the awards for today. She has nominated in her role as a preservation, interiors, and partner of preservation architect David Polton. been involved in many restorations of many homes, including their own, and I think they received an award last year. Sharon's a great example of the old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. We've tried to get Sharon on our board for years, and this year she finally said yes. It's our gain, and her daughter is headed towards college, so as an empty nester, she said, I finally have the time to put against this. So please welcome her to our board. We're very excited, Sharon, to have you join us. In that capacity, you've been busy with us for a long time.
In addition to our 4 new members, we also have 4 members that are continuing on, which we're very excited about. And I'd like to read the entire slate and have each of you stand to be recognized. The new directors for class of 2019, Stephen Bent, Maggie Coleman, Peter Coutant, Sharon Harvey, Linda Lang, Kurt Peretz, Fred Moyer, sorry, Fred, Sarah Tenbrook. Great. Can I call for a motion, please?
I move we accept the slate of new board members unanimously.
Thank you, Pauline. Second? All in favor? Great. I'd like to congratulate the new class of 2019 as well as our officers. And sadly, we have to say, oh, yes, of course. And sadly, we have to say goodbye to 3 new directors this year. I'd like to thank Allison Durr and Gail Hodges for all of their hard work throughout the years, and they will be sadly and greatly missed. And at this point, I'd like to invite Pauline Moore to say a few words, please.
I have the distinct honor and pleasure of introducing to you our newest honorary director, but one of our longest-serving members, Gail Hodges. Gail goes back to the very beginnings of our organization, and she has never stopped serving in many capacities. I think this is an interesting note. In the 1980s, she served as president, and then she was called back 2 decades later to serve again. So Gail, for your many contributions to this organization, we're very pleased to name you honorary director.
Congratulations, Gail. Very happy about that. And congratulations to everybody on the board, and happy to have the new directors and happy to be keeping the old directors. Thank you. Marcy, if you, not that.
Just for the record, after this meeting, perhaps the nominating party could come forward and have a photograph taken of the directors. Thank you very much. So we have our awards. Oh, I guess at this point, I could actually, the formal business meeting, I would like to call for an adjournment, because then we'll move to our awards presentation. Roger.
So moved.
Second. Good. We're all set.